keep those freaking emails organized, please. That's going to increase productivity like crazy. Plan out your day the day before. Oh my goodness. Have a system of follow-up. Huge. You're never going to miss anything. You're not going to be worried. You're not going to be anxious. You're going to be like, oh, I'm at peace. This is the peace that passes all understanding. That's in a certain book. Hey guys, so I talked before about my journey to becoming a loan officer, but I also think a really important part of the journey is how I've figured out how to be extremely productive in the amount of time that I have to work, because a lot of people want to be successful and they want to do this and that, but it really comes down to how well are you using your time. And over time, I have implemented a lot of things that I think help to cut through a lot of the nonsense. So I figured it'd be fun just to walk through what I've learned, and maybe it'll help you to be more productive with what you do. I think it can be applicable in a lot of scenarios too. I do loans. It's definitely applicable to real estate agents. Basically any business owner it could be applicable to. Let me know what you think below. Comment below if you hear something that you like, or maybe if you have something that you do that I don't do, definitely comment below, because I'm always trying to optimize my time and what I'm doing. So the first thing that I learned was emails and how to organize emails. And it's really important because you can totally get lost in the sauce. Super simple system for organizing emails. Under your inbox, you can create folders, and then you can create subfolders and subfolders and subfolders, and it's fantastic. I organize mine into 4 main groups, maybe 4 or 5 main groups. Loans, underwriting, so like guidelines, like rules for loans, clients, marketing, and operations, right? And then any email that's important that I ever want to reference in the future, I just dump in one of those buckets. For example, marketing, I might have a marketing folder, and in that marketing folder, I might have an emails folder, and in that emails folder, I might have the rate update. We do like a rate update, right? What you can do is you can close those folders and open them, and it's just a way to stay really organized. That's important because the main thing that you want to do with emails is keep that inbox clean. Oh my goodness. Everybody that works with me, everyone that starts working with me, that's the first thing I tell them: keep your inbox clean in your emails, because that's how you stay organized. That's how you keep track of what's important. So basically, when you get an email in, you're gonna take care of it right then. Or if it's just, a point of reference, a note, then you're gonna move it to the appropriate folder. And if it's something that you need to take care of later, I leave it in my inbox. So the goal at the end of the day is to clear out that inbox list. Now, maybe it's something in the distant future that you need to take care of, and I'll talk about that in a second, a system of follow-up and a system of tasks. But the emails are important. Use folders, stay organized, keep it simple, use a system that you'll learn. And this is something that I am constantly refreshing, updating, jogs my memory, doing something different. It's just a way for you to stay organized, but you got to use some kind of filing system for your emails. And I use emails like right now. If John were to tell me to do something, camera guy John, then I would send myself an email, because that's the way I know it's going to get done. If it's in my emails, I'm going to see everything in my inbox. People that have like 2,000 in their inbox, it's totally crazy. It's like, no wonder things get missed. You got to take the time to get organized and stay on top of it every single day. I'm going to talk about calendaring in a second, but one of the first things I do at the beginning of my day, I take 30 minutes and I go through my emails. Like, you have to do this, or you're going to miss stuff, and it's going to be detrimental to your business. Emails was the first thing that I learned to do. The second thing, and I kind of just mentioned it, is a system of follow-up. What I use now is a CRM, a client relation manager, called Salesforce. I think Salesforce is way too in-depth. I don't think you have to use Salesforce. You just got to pick a system and stick with it. When I first started, I had an Excel spreadsheet. It was so easy. I had an Excel spreadsheet where I could put a client's name. I had a column for last touch, last time I talked to them or whatever, and then next touch. So if I talk to you today, but I know if I don't hear from you, I'm going to want to talk to you in 2 more days, then I would set the date for that. That way, every single day I do my follow-ups, so I can just set the date for the appropriate day, and I can see everything I have to get done for that day. I may not even do it for anything now. If I have to remember to do anything, I have myself in my CRM, and I'll assign a task to myself to know to do it on that day, whatever it is. I could wish my grandmother a happy birthday. It's going to be a task in the system. And that way, when you're working on something, when you're working on a file, and you get done with it, the last thing you should ask yourself is, what do I need to do next for this? And then you set a task, so if the client never called you, if the thing never happened, you would know just automatically from your tasks of the day, the next time that has to be touched. What this does, it totally eliminates the, did I do that? Did I do that? Did I get that done? Doesn't matter. You have a task for it. You don't have to think about it again. It really frees your mind up for some space. Use a system for follow-up. Get in the rhythm of that. If you're curious about that, it's kind of hard to describe in this video, and I don't even know if I can like put pictures up of it or whatever, but I can send you like samples of what I used in the past. And again, a simple Excel spreadsheet is really all you need at the end of the day. Everything else is just fluff. Use a system of follow-up. Here's the meat and potatoes, right? You're organized with your emails. You're organized with your tasks. Now it's about optimizing your time. Before I actually dive into time blocking, the wonderful world of time blocking, what I would say first is another thing that really helped revolutionize my business was creating a game plan. I sat down for 2 days and I looked at my business and I saw what was important for my business. Following up with clients, calling my database, massively important. Going to lunch with somebody. There are only a few things that you can boil your business down to that are going to be important, that you can boil your life down to. Working out, eating healthy, whatever the case is, you figure out what's important to you. I haven't worked out lately, but that was important at one point. It's still important now, but you figure out what's important to you, and that is what goes into your week at a glance. You should be able to look at a templated calendar and see what you're supposed to be doing on what day. Maybe working out is a daily thing for you. Maybe it's a Monday, Wednesday, Friday type of thing, right? My follow-up tasks are a daily task that I have to do. I have broken down what I follow up with on what day. On Mondays, I follow up with active deals and contract. On Tuesdays, I follow up with clients just to say, hey, check in, how are you doing? On Wednesdays, I follow up with past clients, people that I've closed in the past. Hey, you've had your house for 2 years now. How's it going? How are you guys liking it? Do we need to update your mortgage in any way? Thursdays, business people. There's a different day for each thing, but I have a week at a glance, so I know on what day I'm supposed to be doing which task. It's really simple to make. I would suggest starting it, and it's something that you're going to update over time. Sometimes I switch what days I do what, right? But it helps you stay very organized in what you're trying to do. A little bit of extra credit before I forget. You have 8 hours to work in a day. That is your allotted time to work. That is your allotted time to stay focused on what you're doing. It's not your time to scroll Facebook and scroll Instagram. But for me, I look at it like this. When I went to school, when I was in school, I remember I would go to class, I would see what work had to be done for the day. I would do that work as fast as possible, and then I would see what homework had to be done for the day. And I would try to get that homework done in that class. So that way when I got home, I didn't have to do any homework. And I did that for every single class, and I really never had to do homework because even if I was at lunch, I would pull out my workbook and I would knock out the homework for that night so I wouldn't have to do homework when I got home. When I was at school, that was for school. When I was at home for play, that was for play. And I've just been like that since I was a little kid, but it's such an easy mindset. Another example I have is my mom. My mom is was a teacher for years, and she used to get to the school first and be the last one to leave. And I always thought that was so crazy. I'm like, why do you do that? And she's like, well, during the school day, I've got to talk to this person and that person. And I'm like, no, when you're at school, you're there to teach. Do your lesson plans at lunch. You really have to determine that when you're at work, you want to focus on that work so it frees you up to do everything else. You got to be focused during that time. All right, so let's get into time blocking. Everybody preaches about time blocking. There are a few things I think that help. The most important thing, I've kind of talked about the week at a glance, that's very important. The game changer for me was when I started looking at my calendar the night before. So we all schedule meetings, like I had a lunch today and then I had a coffee, both of which canceled, fantastic. But I looked at it the night before, I said, here's my lunch, here's my coffee. Okay, I know when I get to the office, the first thing I want to do is check my emails. Boom, 30 minutes of emails. The next thing I want to do is my pipeline review. So the deals that I have in process, my partner and I, we go through all of our deals. Boom, 1 hour block for pipeline. That's going to be an hour-long meeting. I know I'm going to be getting emails and text messages. So when I get out of that hour-long meeting, I need to time block an hour for client calls, return client calls, and email checkup. I got to check my emails to see what I missed while I was in that meeting. After that hour, I know I need to do my phone calls to the people that are in the process, to my active clients. So boom, hour block, I called the people that are in there. What do I do after that hour block? I bet you'll never guess. Client follow-up, client calls, returning calls that I missed during that hour block. After that, then I go to my lunch, and then after that lunch, you'll never guess what I'm going to do. I'm going to have a 30-minute block for return phone calls. So you schedule these interruptions into your calendar, right? But from the moment I get to the office, 7 a.m., until the moment I drive home at 4 p.m., it is time blocked. Everything is time blocked. And the reason I add those 30-minute little bits in there for client calls is because doing this, I know if I go pipeline meeting right into calls, I'm going to have a ton of return phone calls, or I'm going to be answering those calls, and it's going to throw off my groove. So this is something that I've honed in over time, but you got to get into the habit of doing it and then tweaking it over time. So look at your calendar the day before and time block it. Give yourself grace and forgiveness to move your calendar around. Like I mentioned, I had 2 meetings canceled today. I had 2 totally changed my calendar midday. I looked at what I had to get done, I moved them around the calendar, and I took my team out to lunch today, right? And now we're making this cool video. I had a free 30 minutes because my coffee canceled, so let's make a video. You'll figure out ways to stay proactive. Guys, this is, again, something that you just got to do over and over and over again. Block it out the night before, and then throughout the day, another thing to do too, here's another great thing to do, and I did this when I got going. I would have my meetings, so here's actually what started, now I remember. I would have my meetings in my calendar, and then when I would start start my day, I would write down what I did for the last 30 minutes. You should do that. It's fun. I could not tell you how many times I went to go write in my calendar what I had just done, and 2 hours goes by, and you're like, what the heck did I just do for the past 2 hours? It is shocking. If you don't have a game plan for your time, it is going to go out that freaking window. I tell you. You should do that first. You should track every 30 minutes what you're just try to remember. And then from there, you'll realize that doing it the night before is going to save you so much time, right? And effort, and it's going to help you stay so focused. Now, where I'm at now to this day, and this helps me stay very accountable to what I do with my time. It also gives me a peace of mind to let me know that I'm spending my time wisely. And it really started when my son was born, and I wanted to track how much time I stayed up at night to track my sleep, to then track how I was feeling the next day in my calendar. So I started doing a 24-hour time block, right? So I do my calendar the night before. I'll block it out till 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. whenever I get home. I don't block out when I get home, but before I go to bed, before I do the next day, I look at this day today, and I say, okay, when I got home from 5 to 6 p.m. we played outside, and then from 6 to 7 we fed the cows and fed the chickens, and then from 7 to 8 it was bath time and bedtime and bottling before bed, and then I calendar. Normally I have a hour block for me and my wife, or an hour and a half block for whatever, if we want. Most of the time it's watching Netflix or just hanging out and talking, and then from there I block my sleep from when I sleep to the next day. It's really cool. It sounds crazy, but it's really cool to be able to look back through your calendar. I can look back. I did it the other day. I wanted to see when we got our calves. We got baby cows, and they were like 3 days old, and someone asked me how old they were. Well, I could go back and I could type in cow into my calendar, and I could see the day that we got our little baby cows, or anything like my son's doctor's appointments, like when we went and hung out with family or friends, or date nights that we've done. It is really cool to be able to go back in your calendar and see what you've done throughout the year. And like I said, it just personally gives me like so much peace to just know that I really haven't wasted time, and I've used it wisely with my family, my friends, and my business, and I'm staying accountable to everybody, and I'm giving everybody the love and the attention that they deserve. So calendaring to me is like so cool. If I wasn't doing business, I'd probably still calendar, just because it's almost like a journal. Like, people always harp on journaling. You should journal, and you should write. You should, it helps you. Calendaring is what does it for me. So I hope this helps you guys. Keep those freaking emails organized, please. That's going to increase productivity like crazy. Plan out your day the day before. Oh my goodness. Have a system of follow-up. Huge. You're never going to miss anything. You're not going to be worried. You're not going to be anxious. You're going to be like, oh, I'm at peace. This is the peace that passes all understanding. That's in a certain book. All right, guys. Let me know what you think below. Give me your tips and tricks. I'll talk to you soon.